gentlemen, I don't know what this is. Come, it looks like it just came out of the basement. Master. I'm the master. Worldwide. Master. Master something.
Welcome back to MasterBetting. As always, brought in by our great friend, great sounds of Gorilla Pop. It's 420 for Don Mattingly's birthday. How are you doing today?
Man, I was doing good, but then you just made me learn something today. I didn't know it was Don Mattingly's birthday, so shout out. What did they call him? What was his nickname?
Mr. for Donnie Baseball?
I think it was Donnie Baseball. Yeah,
Donnie Baseball. I was thinking Donnie Darko, remember. Mr. October,
Yeah, sure.
Donnie October. Either way. Happy birthday, Don Mattingly and Carmen Electra.
Even better. No, my days just keeps getting better.
I know. I mean, MasterBetting and Carmen Electra, they kind of go hand in hand. I mean,
it's pretty synonymous.
Pretty synonymous.
Every time I think about MasterBetting, I kind of think about Carmen Electra. So,
likewise. I mean, yeah. big figure in my early days.
Common thread between us.
Ferg, I was thinking about that before we hopped on. We haven't really looked at whose birthday it was in the sporting world, every time we record. And it's actually a pretty good idea, but it might not make sense because people might be listening here on the 21st. So happy birthday, Tony Romo, April 21st.
Yeah, I knew that, obviously.
Anyways, I digress, Ferg. Hey, how are you doing? How are you doing today?
Oh, pretty good. I had a really good, busy weekend. Saturday, another loss for the Steelers. It's getting bleak, man. I mean, the easy part of our schedule was done, or the hardest part of our schedule was done, but the competition we face, even though it may be looking better on paper for us, it's just not working out. So much better effort from the kids this week, but still not exactly the result we wanted. But did that. I went to another track meet. I love doing that. And then I went and played poker on Saturday night as well. And there was pretty good. There were 30 something in the field and I got fifth. So, and I was, I got my money's worth. I was talking shit the whole night, bro. Pissing people off, some people off, I don't know, maybe. I think I kept it mostly. I'm not trying to be malicious, but I am going to bring a little flavor to the table.
You can grind a few gears. I know.
Bro, it's a mental game.
They just got to know you, Ferg,
Uh-huh.
And if they don't know you, then they're in for a treat. Yeah, you win any money though, or you just talk a lot of shit and
just
catch a buzz?
Did catch a buzz prior to, during, and then a little more after.
Right on. Well, yeah. Well, no money won, and getting into. I mean, it was a big weekend here. I mean, were you paying attention? I know Saturday you're talking about was a huge day for you personally, but were you kind of paying attention to what was going on around town? Pretty big day around town.
Yeah, it definitely was. We, as master bettors, we had some good stuff on the socials regarding that. I think I worded it, our social media team worded it, the goats are gathering in Denver. It was crazy, man. We had, goat is kind of a term that I think is used pretty loosely these days. The greatest of all time could just be a guy that,
best for that time, or top of the game for that time being.
Well, maybe 2 rebounds short of a triple-double in the local pickup basketball game. You know what I mean? That guy could be the GOAT too, So, but no, it is a term that, we kind of use for the greatest of all time. But I do think in this instance, it's more of the greatest of this time because we had Shohei Ohtani arguably the best player in baseball. I'd say it's really not much of an argument. The best player in baseball. He was here with the Dodgers playing the Rockies on Saturday. You had the boy you're representing there right now, our own Nikola Jokic. Arguably best player in basketball, is eligible and up for the MVP, one of the 3 finalists. We can get into that later. But then he was playing in the playoff game against Minnesota here in Denver that day. And then maybe the greatest of all time, one of them, Lionel Messi, was playing at Mile High on Saturday as well. So Denver, great sports town. We had 3 of the greatest of all time here on Saturday, and it was pretty cool. It was a great event. Joker won on Saturday, and then Shohei got beat. We'll talk more about that. The Rockies beat the Dodgers, and then Messi and them, they did win.
They won. The goats got here and they did feed on grass. Happy 420, Ferg.
Hey, I mentioned it. Yeah, exactly. Happy 420, y'all. Listen, I did mention it as far as the game with Messi, but I forgot. I want to make sure I get this out there because we talk about Denver. It's a great sports town, and I'm going to find that in a second. I may not find it, but I remember it. It was the second most attended game in MLS history.
Yeah, right around 76,000. They packed the place.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, when I talk about the goats eating or being fed, Messi had 2 of the 3 goals for Inter Miami, including the game winner. Nikola Jokic had a triple-double, game 1 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The only goat that did not eat that day was Shohei Ohtani. He did have a hit, no RBIs, didn't go long. So 2 of the 3 had pretty successful days, but 76,000. Ferg, you think about 76,000 people at Empower Field, 18,000 at Ball Arena, and I'm not sure how packed Coors Field was, but I do know that those Dodgers game are well attended. That's a lot of people to pack in a downtown area, and I'd say probably a 3-mile square radius. Pretty busy.
Yeah. Well, Denver's a great sports town. There's always something going on, and right now it's pretty hot, man. I mean, you got the Avalanche. We didn't talk about, what we talked about in the pre-production meeting just for a brief second, but what many might consider the greatest of this time in hockey was playing on Sunday, with Nathan McKinnon and the Avalanche. So we're talking about some hot sports times right now in Denver. The Nuggets in the playoff, the Avalanche in the playoffs. We're getting Inter Miami games with Messi coming to town, dropping 2 goals on us. Denver's getting what it wants right now with sports.
Absolutely. And with Nathan McKinnon, he did just win the Rocket Richard for the regular season, Ferg. That is the second time in a 30-year Avs history. Actually, in the combined Avalanche Nordiques history, someone has won that award, and that is given to the player who scores the most goals in the regular season. So rarefied air, like you said here in Denver over the past weekend. Ferg, I'm not sure which way I want to go, so I'm going to have you help me out a little bit. Do you want to talk about our bets starting on Saturday? Do we want to be sport specific? Do you want to talk about the NBA and then get to the NHL? How do you want to tackle this?
Let's go ahead and get into our bets. I think we can get through this pretty quickly. I know you were looking at it a little bit and had those stats kind of pulled up from our performance on Saturday. But the unfortunate part of it is that didn't get the result we wanted. Twins, whatever, man. I know you're a Minnesota guy. They really did. They really did.
Well, so the Twins, and then looking at our bets on Saturday, so we both had an iteration. I had the Yankees -1.5. They beat the Royals 13-4. You just had them on the money line. Twins lost to the Cincinnati Reds, so that completely screwed both of our parlays. And then I had, and here's where if it wasn't for these goddamn Twins, you were looking pretty good. I had the Nuggets -6.5. That hit. They won by 11. But I had over 232, and that game ended at 221. So I only hit half of my bets on that parlay that we published. However, Ferg, you didn't touch the NHL on Saturday. You just hit the NBA, and you went 4 for 4 on your NBA picks.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. It was mostly chalk all weekend, to be honest with you, and that's the way I was looking at it going into it. We've got more games on the docket tonight. We probably won't get this episode published before those games start, but we'll get some bets out there for later in this week. But yeah, hit all four of those NBA bets. We talked about Orlando being maybe the biggest or the only one that really posed any kind of surprise in the NBA over the weekend. Tampa got beat. The Stars got beat. We had a lot of stuff going on in the NHL. And maybe I'm lucky I did stay away from that because it sounds like our resident NHL expert wasn't faring so well in those bets on Saturday either. You were kind of cluing me in on that, and you said you kind of missed all three of those on Saturday.
So actually, I didn't touch the NHL on Saturday, but on Sunday.
Or maybe it was Sunday. Yeah,
you are correct. I did have but I didn't touch the NBA on Sunday, and I didn't touch the NHL on Saturday. So on Sunday, I had Tampa Bay to win. They did lose in overtime. That was an upset. They were at home against the Montreal Canadiens, so lost that bet. And then I had the Buffalo Sabres -1.5. My pick to win the Eastern Conference. They got the W. Great game. They came from behind and pulled it out at home. First game in Buffalo in 15 years, playoff game. So they didn't cover that 1.5. And then the Avs, I had -1.5 against the Kings. And Ferg, I thought those teams would come in charged up with a lot more emotion. Buffalo with the playoff drought, beating that city. I mean, you sent me a video. Those fans are crazy. Apparently, for any sort of pregame ritual, they revert to some sort of wrestling. They go back to wrestling, whether they're breaking tables or tackling mannequins, what have you. Buffalo likes wrestling. WrestleMania is this past weekend. I'm going to ask you actually about that in a second or later down the road. I got a problem with it, Ferg. I got a real problem with professional wrestling and infiltrating our sports world. But I digress. And then I thought the Avs, the Los Angeles Kings, the last seed in the Western Conference in the playoffs, Ferg, they got almost a third of their points. They got 90 points on the season, and 20 of those points, so a little more than a quarter, less than a third, they got by overtime losses. Because in the NHL, if you make it to overtime, you get a point. They got 20 of their 90 points over the course of the season in overtime losses. So I thought the number one seed President's Trophy winners, they were going to come in and just smack them around, ready to go. Didn't happen. They definitely outplayed them, but not by 2 goals. So I went 0 for 3 on my Sunday in my NHL bets. Unacceptable, Ferg.
Well, at one point, I did have the Avalanche -1.5 on that game as well because I kind of thought the same thing. And great stat, by the way. Appreciate that. I mean, that's what it's all about, right there, folks. MasterBetting community. We're not just coming surface level with who has the better uniform on some of these picks. You know what I mean? We're getting in there. We're doing the hard nosed research, and trying to find these winners for us. You know what I mean? And so, thanks for bringing those stats. Now, I think it's going to be a different result. That's tonight, right? The Avs go back. No, that's tomorrow night. Sorry, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So tomorrow night, I think that the Avs are going to have a little bit better of a showing out there. But yeah, the Kings gave them kind of all they wanted for most of 2 periods. Avalanche got a goal, like 2 goals in, and we're up 2-0, and then just gave up a late goal to miss that -1.5.
Yeah, so they were tracking, didn't pan out though, and so game 1 is done in every league except the NHL has one more game 1, and that is tonight that is the Edmonton Oilers and the Anaheim Ducks. The one thing, I guess, fun or not fun stat, but I thought was crazy, I didn't realize it went back this far, and these fan bases are probably glad they're not seeing one another, but talking about the Los Angeles Kings again, the Edmonton Oilers and Los Angeles Kings, the previous 4 seasons, have met in the first round. And they were this close to doing it again due to some shakeup and wins, losses, what have you, in the Pacific Division.
Weird playoff formatting. We get it.
Yeah. But so one more game 1 in both of these playoffs, but on to game 2. So Ferg, like you said, NBA, it was a lot of chalk minus that Orlando game, Orlando beating up on Detroit. And in the NBA, none of those games were really close. The next, besides that upset, the closest margin of victory was 9 points, and that was by the Lakers taking down the Rockets. Otherwise, we're talking a few games at 11 points, if not some blowouts. So maybe these teams will play defense, get more adjusted. Maybe Dylan Brooks will shut his mouth. I don't know, but I'm hoping a little bit more competitive balance here in the game 2s here on tonight, starting tonight, going into Tuesday.
I was listening to a broadcast, watching that game with what was the Suns and the OKC and Dylan Brooks. He said before the game something about how they were going to go in and steal game one. He's such a like he's embracing it, kind of like Draymond has embraced it. He's kind of embracing being the kind of bad boy of basketball, the villain, if you will, Dylan the villain. But man, I don't like him, and so he's playing it well. But the commentators were saying something like his teammates said that the guy he is on the court is the exact opposite of who he is off the court, and that's really hard for me to grasp, and I don't believe him.
Yeah, I agree. And isn't he the same guy that always gets into it with LeBron?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you had him and the Stevenson guy that would blow in LeBron's ear and stuff. But yeah, Dylan's always trying to mix it up with somebody, and that's his thing. He's always trying to mix it up with somebody and trying to. So maybe I should like him more, because I'll be honest with you, that's kind of my game. I like to bring a little mental aspect to every competition.
You were the Dylan Brooks of a poker game, it sounds like.
Could have been, man. Could have been,
If you got it, or if you spot it, you got it, as I've heard.
You're right. You're right.
If you spot
you know what they say about if you can't figure out who the worst player at the table is, it's you. Something like that. I don't know. But no, I made it. I mean, I made it to the final table, got through a couple at the final table, and nobody wants to hear poker stories, but I was ahead going into the flop when I went all in, So.
All right. Nice.
Well,
Ferg, while we're still on the, I guess we'll kind of tag team it here, the NBA and the NHL. We got a couple bets rolling in. So as you had mentioned, we're probably going to get too late for the listeners to hear what we're going to pick tonight, but it's still something I kind of want to talk through with you, because I have a pretty good bet that I'm going to lay down. I got a 7-banger for Tuesday that the listeners are going to be able to hear. It's going to be up on social media. Plenty of time to ride it with me or with us. I'll see where you fall, or think, fuck that, I'm not going with Nugz. And especially what happened with Sunday, I don't blame you. But Ferg, with tonight, I just kind of want to get your thoughts on some of these games.
Shoot.
So, I've so starting out, Raptors and Cavaliers. So Raptors, it was plus 9.5. I mean, they got steamrolled by Cleveland. I've seen Cleveland's actually screwed me on quite a few bets this year. So actually, I was pretty torn there. Knicks minus 6.5 against the Hawks. Where do you land there?
Well, I think the Knicks Hawks is 100% Knicks minus 6.5. Take that all day to the bank. Jalen Brunson had 19 in the first quarter against that same Hawks team the other day, and led the Knicks to a pretty easy victory. And then Cleveland, Toronto. The thing about this is I may be a little clouded by my own personal bias. I've just never been a Raptors fan. I don't know what it is, but I don't particularly care for the Raptors, and I don't think they have that good of a squad right now. I will admit that I was sleeping on Detroit a little bit. Maybe not. I mean, with Orlando taking them down, but I think I was sleeping on Detroit with a little bit with the seed they have. They have some players, Cade Cunningham to be specific, but I don't really even know much about these Raptors. The flip side of that is I don't really follow the Cavaliers that much either. But I would say maybe I want to make sure that I'm correct here, but I'm thinking, Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. Donovan Mitchell for the Cavaliers. I think he's one of the best scorers in the game. And I know he's a little long in the tooth, but I think he's still got a lot in the tank. And he's never been on a real like powerhouse of a team, and I don't know that he's able to carry a team all by himself through multiple rounds of the playoffs. I know he did a good job with Portland back in the day, but
Jazz.
yeah, I think they got. Excuse me, with the Jazz, I forgot. Yep, my bad. But he did pretty good job with the Jazz back in the day. But I do think that I think Cleveland's got the edge in this one. So I would go with the favorites and give up the points in both of those games. Here's what it is about NBA games late is, it's really, really, from what I'm seeing, these teams, if you're up 6, 7 and with a minute and some change left, you're going to, typically stretch that to double digits these days.
Well,
And
speaking
it's
about
just
up
hard.
late. Sorry, go ahead.
Yep.
I cut you
No,
off.
I was just I'll just finish my thought. It's just, for me, it's those 4-point spreads it's hard to take the underdog.
Yeah,
Unless
sure.
you think they're going to just straight up win and then pick the money line. I just think it's really hard to take the underdog on those low single digit spreads.
Makes sense. Much more beneficial. I'll forgive you because I thought I had a great transition about speaking about up late, but the late game tonight, Nuggets T-Wolves. And this is one that I had a little bit of, and speaking, I'm going to go quick side note. So being a Denver sports fan, and I know that you follow these teams as well, both the Denver teams, the Avs and the Nuggets, they're getting the West Coast time slot. So we're talking about 8, 9 o'clock start times, or between 8 and 9. I think tonight's 8:40 for the Nuggets. I set my alarm for 4:30 in the morning. So these are going to be some early mornings, but well worth it. But as I get to that game, Denver's 7.5 point favorites. I don't know what I want to do with that. I'm kind of staying away. And then the over 232, it's essentially the same over under as it was last game. But Ferg, Timberwolves shot 32% from 3. Nuggets shot 28%. Jamal Murray went 0 for 8. I imagine both these teams could explode, and that could be a low-scoring game. But I'm still afraid. Any thoughts there? 232 between the T-Pups and the Nuggets.
Well, I'll tell you this. I took the overs on a lot of games over the weekend, and I've found most of them to be hitting the unders. And so at 232, that's a pretty large over under for these games. I mean, most that we did have some. The Spurs, I believe they hit the over in their game. But no, I think that no, I think they hit the under, actually, now that I think about it. But I'm going with the under tonight. That's kind of where I'm saying. I know I don't like to typically bet the under. My motto has always been life too short to bet the under, but and I don't like rooting for against points. That's my thing, but I think that's an under game tonight. Another thing about these games, if Denver's got a 12, 14 point lead late, which I think is very plausible, they milk a lot of clock in those fourth quarters.
Yes, they do. Yes, I do. Well, Ferg, I still don't know if I feel that much more confident. I know that the Cavaliers and Raptors game has already started. However, I did throw a bet as we were talking on the Knicks minus 6.5. I just threw $10 in to get my fee wet. I have not placed a bet today. So click clack. I appreciate the insight. And then just going over the NHL real quick, I'll just share my thoughts. It wasn't as scared, but so your team, who you picked to win the East, they fell to the Flyers, that in-state Pennsylvania rivalry. We got the Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. I look for the Penguins to even the series. That is currently going on right now. Hurricanes, Senators. I think the Hurricanes just sweep that series. I don't think the Senators are going to win a game. So give me the Hurricanes on the money line. Wild Stars. Stars are at home. They got embarrassed in game 1. I think they got to be looking to come back. They are favorites in this game, so give me the Stars at home. So, Ferg, that's what I got for tonight. I feel more comfortable with my NHL picks, but hey, I went 0 for 3 on the NHL yesterday, so we'll see how that pans out.
I was looking at the games earlier as well. When I was putting together my bet, I've got a bet that includes a little bit of baseball as well as that hockey, but I have the same thing. I have Pittsburgh even out series. I've got Carolina winning, and I do agree that could potentially be a sweep series. And then, I've got the Stars as well. So and I also have I do have Edmonton beating the Ducks.
Yeah, I would align with you there as well.
Yeah.
I skipped over them. I was looking at the game twos, but yeah, I would agree there.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
Ferg, before we, I know this is just us talking on the air. These bets won't be published, but who do you got for baseball tonight?
Well, I could even show you my receipts, but I'll bring up my bet right now. When I looked at it last, the Nationals were kind of fucking me over. Looks like I've made a bit of a comeback. Let's see. I've got the Astros on the money line. They're currently up 7-2 on Cleveland. I've got Cardinals on the money line. They're in a tie game with the Marlins. I've got Tampa Bay on the money line, and they are unfortunately getting beat 3-1 by the Reds. I got to stop betting against Cincinnati. And then the Braves did make a comeback. It's 2-3 versus the Nationals, and I have those that game as well. So that's
still
what I
alive and
got.
kicking.
Still alive. It's baseball. It's hard to come back in baseball. So, you hate being down in a couple of games, but it can happen.
Right on. Well, shall we? Let's move on to Tuesday. And I'm not sure if you've been able to look at Tuesday at all for any of the bets.
I have not looked that far ahead yet. I had a bit of a busy day at work. I apologize. Had some things popping off, but no, I haven't yet. But I'll look at it in the morning.
Well, take a look at our socials. We will have something published. But Ferg, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
just so we have something on the air that I'd like to share with the listeners. So when they listen to the podcast, like I said, they can go with me or they know what not to do. But either way, I got what I consider a safe 7-leg parlay that includes both the NHL and the NBA. Can I hit you with it?
Safe and 7-leg parlay is something that I use in the same sentence on a regular basis. I mean, that's one of the safest ways to bet is 7 legs. Yeah.
Parlays. Well, here,
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it at you.
I'm always shooting the moon, Nugz.
I do. I mean, how'd you pull off that one that put you on the government's radar? Wasn't it several legs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was 10 legs on that one, bub.
So I don't want to call out the specific dollar amount, but like you said, you had to give some tax information to the government, so you did all right on that one.
Yeah.
So anyways, I digress. As we get into my safe 7-leg parlay of the week, this is for Tuesday, April 21st, Tony Romo's birthday. Boston Celtics minus 13.5 versus the 76ers. Tampa Bay Lightning, I look at them to even the series at home against the Montreal Canadiens. Sabres Bruins. I had that right. Under 6.5 goals. Spurs against the Trailblazers minus 11.5. Vegas Golden Knights at home, money line. They've only had one loss since they fired their coach with 4 games left at the end of the season. They've been on a tear, and they have that Stanley Cup playoff pedigree, won back in 2023. Avs money line. Then I have Rockets evening the series against the Lakers. They got Kevin Durant back. Give me the Rockets on the money line. That's a $5 bet, Ferg. That's going to pay $170. So that's safe. That safe 7 legs dropping down the nickel. Looking at plus. Can't see the odds. Oh yeah, plus 17, 13 odds. So
yeah, almost times your money. You can't really beat that.
Yeah, so that's what I got for Tuesday. If you're listening, lock it in. Pay attention to our social medias, but that's what I got for my master bet as of right now. And folks, with these playoffs happening every day for the foreseeable future, especially these first couple rounds, pay attention to our social channels. We are going to be posting our bets daily.
Yeah. And Nugz, I'm going to tail that one, man. I really like the way you dropped that one down. The only thing I am going to kick out that Houston Rockets. I don't like Houston. I'm going to kick that leg out. I'm not going to take the opposite. I'm going to kick that leg out. We're going to bring winners from both of us.
Love it. That safe 6 leg.
There it is.
6-7. 6-7. I still don't know what that means.
I can't believe we just did that.
I can't either.
Yeah, I know what that means because I know everything, Nugz. And it means nothing.
That's
it truly means nothing. It's just one of those. It's just one of those dumb things. It was in a song. Somebody said 6-7, and then it just kept getting repeated, and then it became viral. It's like the floss that those kids were doing. You know what I mean? when they're
Oh yeah,
doing their hammer fists and whatnot. It's
hammer
just a
fit
viral
6'7"
thing,
and
man.
broccoli haircuts. The youth today.
Yeah, skibbity Riz. I don't know, something like that.
The youth today. Well, for much more to look forward to. It's fun times with baseball, or no, excuse me, with basketball, with the NHL, but baseball. I know you said there's we're just trudging along, not much going on when we talked, but we do have some exciting news with the Rockies, the local team of them.
Yeah, I agree. So we just talked about this this morning, actually. The Rockies are have won 2 straight games against the Dodgers. They're in division rival, and nobody has done that this year. Nobody has beaten the Dodgers in back-to-back games besides the Rockies, and they won. So they won those 2 in a row. It is a 4-game series, so they're back at it tonight. And man, I don't expect the Rockies to make it 3, right? I feel like betting on the Rockies. I think if you had a really good strategy going into the season, it would be kind of like one of those roulette maneuvers. You know what I mean? Where you just keep betting the Rockies to lose every time, and then if they don't lose, you just double up your bet the next time, and if they lose 2 in a row, you just double the next time because they're going to get your money back.
Yeah. I'm trying to look, not have the best iPhone or service right now, but I'm curious what the Rockies are, but guarantee they're underdogs. They've been flirting around the plus 220, plus 240 range for the game.
Yeah. I think it was even closer to plus 285 tonight. I'll get those odds for you right now, but yeah, it was bleak. It's not good. I mean, and they've got Jose Quintana going on the hill tonight versus some other guy, but the guy for the Dodgers is 2-0 with like a 2.6 ERA. So, the Dodgers always have arms and they always have good pitching. And this guy, I've never heard of him, but sounds like he's kind of a stud. I don't know.
Well, either way, go Rockies. Hopefully that's something we could talk about. And it's a nice change of pace. Like I said, last week we talked about how the ownership changed and how they've won a series for the first time early on in the year compared to August as of last year. Yeah. I'm really changing my tune when, just looking for reasons to shit on the Rockies. So hopefully they can get a series win. If not, still, evening a series against the Dodgers is no small feat, especially where the Rockies started the season and ended last season. So more to come, more to talk about as the baseball season drags on. But Ferg, big news of the sports league, got through the playoffs, but we got the NFL draft popping off.
Yeah,
There's a reason you're wearing your Cowboys hat. I got my Broncos hat on. You're wearing your Cowboys jersey. Had I thought about this, did a little pre-plan, I would not have changed out my Broncos flag, but, Avs, Nuggets, both in the playoffs, so be it. But we got the draft coming up Thursday, Ferg, and I know your Cowboys got 2 first-round picks, so I'll let you kind of kick it off. What are you looking for in this draft?
Well, I am wearing my Dak Prescott jersey today because, it is, this episode is kind of, really at the end of the day, we've talked about goats a lot. So the goats are still gathering, and maybe not the greatest of all time as far as like quarterback yet, Dak Prescott, but I mean, I think it's pretty much, very debatable as far as like the best value pick in the NFL history, in the history of the NFL draft. I think.
Are you kidding me?
It's either between Dak Prescott in that 4th round or maybe Tom Brady. I think he was in the 6th or something. But I think that's really the only argument as far as like better draft value as far as
I'd say Kirk Cousins is better value.
What's that?
I say Kirk Cousins is better value than Dak Prescott.
What round did Kirk Cousins go in? He had to be
third round.
Yeah, he had to be a top 3. I mean,
he's 3rd round.
How are you going to give value for a Kirk Cousins in the 3rd round? What has he done?
I think he probably has more passing yards
taking
than
his shirt off. Taking his shirt off, and you like that?
Kirk Cousins. He's going to be the mentor to the number 1 overall pick this year. There's already been, was listening to him talking. He's now the Raiders' backup quarterback, and we already know who the Raiders are going to take. They're going to take Fernando Mendoza with the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
But other than that, a couple names. I mean, I am curious on Jordan Love, where he's going to go. So that's his name, right? Yeah, Jordan Love, running back out of Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, I've been paying a lot of real close attention to the draft, but just watching him, the little bit I have been watching, I mean, they're talking about him being the real deal with the New York Giants, just trading away Dexter Lawrence to the Cincinnati Bengals. They have now the 5th overall pick and the 10th overall pick. Could they be looking to replace Saquon?
Interesting. That could be very, very valid landing spot for Mr. Love, but who knows, man? I'm not fucking Todd McShay. You know what I mean?
Well, what are you looking for your Cowboys? What do you guys need?
Bro, we gotta figure something out. I think we need offensive lineman. I think is a classic. Anytime the Cowboys have a 1st-round pick, I feel like they go either defensive or offensive lineman, or maybe an edge rusher. In the case of Micah, you could never not draft Micah when they drafted at that spot. But I look for them to get a offensive or maybe a defensive lineman with that, probably an offensive lineman. But with that 2nd pick a little bit later in the draft, I don't know. I think there's some strong potential that the Cowboys would potentially move one of their 1st-round picks as well come draft day.
I was reading there are supposed to be.
Jerry loves his drafts, man. He loves drafting.
Oh yeah, loves his war room. I mean, I think they did an ESPN documentary on the Cowboys, but I was reading an article. There's a lot of GMs that think there's going to be a lot of trades. So Ferg, mark my words here on these airwaves on the MasterBetting podcast. I just got a hunch, and it's a little bit of a hunch pushed by former Bronco great Aqib Talib. He said that he thinks that the Broncos are going to do something on draft day. What I think is, and I hate to say it because he's been a great Bronco, I think the Broncos are going to part ways with Marvin Mims, and I think they are going to move up in the draft. I know they've been talking about looking for a tight end, and there's the guy they really like, can't remember his name, but from Vanderbilt, who they're looking at as a late 1st-rounder, early 2nd-rounder. The Broncos pick at 62. That's their 1st pick, so they have no day 1 action. I think the Broncos move Marvin Mims to trade up in the draft. If not Marvin Mims, I think they trade one of their 3 young receivers in either Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, or Marvin Mims. I think one of them are gone, and the Broncos move up.
Not Lil Jordan.
I think Sean Payton loves Lil Jordan. Sean Payton's known for loving a big receiver, big-bodied receiver, and one that can block. And Lil Jordan fits that. He's been cast out, come back. He was on the Giants when the Broncos had that crazy 4th-quarter comeback, and then he was brought back. Had some pretty clutch catches for the Broncos. But no, I don't think what's Lil Jordan going to get? A pack of chew and some cigarettes? He's not going to get any draft capital. Lil Jordan, he's not Lil.
Yeah, he's not either. It's so funny. I mean, it's such a great name. It's funny that I find humor in it. That's what I meant.
I mean, I do too, and I find humor in what his mom was thinking, or what kind of household did he come from, naming your kid Lil Jordan. But I digress. Not trying to make any accusations or assumptions.
I think you are.
I think
you're doing that though.
But Ferg, as we're on the NFL here, real quick, do you know who the all-time passing leader is for yards in one single game? Trivia.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm gonna say it because I was about to go a direction and then I think it just crossed my mind at the last minute. Tua.
For most pass yards in a game.
Yeah, Tua Tagovailoa.
That is, close guess, but not correct.
Okay.
It's Norm Van Brocklin.
That was my second guess.
Norm Van Brocklin for the Los Angeles Rams back in 1952.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
He was also the Dutchman, as he was known. So yeah. Norm Van Brocklin, he was also the very first coach of the Minnesota Vikings. So
obviously knew that too.
Yeah, so Ferg, very important man in NFL history. But do you want to know how I found that out?
I don't
Well,
care.
either way, I'll let you know.
I'm just joking.
I was playing Madden. I was on my franchise Ferg, and the Denver Broncos are working on a three-peat. And I was looking at, kind of legacy stats, and I was looking at league records. And, Zach Allen does have the most sacks in league history in 2025 with 35 sacks.
Jared Allen?
No, Zach Allen, Denver Bronco lineman.
Oh, I don't know who that guy is.
Our nose tackle? Yeah, well,
Is there right now?
right. Yeah, currently.
Currently?
Yeah, like I
Yeah,
told
whatever.
you, I'm working on a three-peat with the Broncos in my Madden franchise.
Oh, this is.
So,
I
yeah,
apologize. I wasn't following. I thought you were saying this is a current. Okay.
no, yeah,
Got it.
so I was looking up legacy
I'm
stats. I was looking
following.
at where Bo Nix is ranking, amongst the all-time greats. Zach Allen, most sacks in an NFL season at 35, and I found out that the most passing yards in the game was from Norm Van Brocklin. Name I never heard of, but
Yeah. You would think it'd be Peyton Manning. I think that I was thinking about that Peyton Manning Tony Romo shootout. Thinking about the GOAT himself the day before his birthday, Tony Romo, in that shootout back on Thanksgiving Day several years ago, and I think Manning had like 589 yards passing or something. But
so the number was 554, which I was surprised. I'm sure someone's thrown more than
554
that in a single game.
really?
Is the league record? Yep.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, Ferg. Well, as I said, I teased a little bit earlier, but one thing I did want to talk to you about that's actually been pissing me off. So, throughout the week, I listen to a lot of sports talk radio, both national and local. And just looking on ESPN, it's one of the first things I look at in the morning when I wake up, just looking at sports headlines. I'm getting pissed off with WrestleMania, Ferg. I know it's something that's near and dear in Texas and Oklahoma, but the amount of coverage for WrestleMania is baffling. When you have SportsCenter spending time with WrestleMania, you have WrestleMania people interviewing people at the Masters. I know ESPN paid a lot of money for this partnership, and I guess it gets a lot of viewers, but it has me concerned, Ferg, about the state of this country and us as sports fans. Now, I hope I'm not offending you right now, but I'm not coming off the top rope to
Who's
friggin'
your favorite
smash the
wrestler?
green. What's that?
Who's your favorite wrestler? Let's just put it that way.
You know what? It's got to be Hulk Hogan. That's the one time that, back when I was 7 or 8, that was a high time of Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. And that is really, I mean, I could name more wrestlers, but that's the only time I really paid attention when I was like 8 years old. And then my brain developed. So
you just admitted to having a favorite wrestler. Let's just get that on the record real quick, okay? You just admitted to having a favorite wrestler. I don't have a favorite wrestler. I've never really got into wrestling. I don't know much about it. I don't care for the sport like you do. And so I don't have a favorite wrestler. And so, I mean, it's kind of conflicting information from you. We're getting a little bit like, which side does this guy land on right now? Because you're telling us about all the wrestlers you like, and then you're telling us that you don't like the current amount of coverage it's getting. I agree. I don't like that coverage either. I don't really need wrestling in my life. I think it's a pretty, ridiculous thing. I don't need it like you do, but I understand that you don't want to watch it instead of, what was it?
have you noticed
The
that though?
the WNBA game that it made you miss. I understand it gets frustrating. No,
Well,
I
was it
have
better?
noticed how I know that I have, all jokes aside, I have noticed how wrestling is just being pushed down our throat. I think it's probably because they have a Netflix deal or whatever it may be. But, I'm not about that life, dude. I don't really, never have I ever really got into wrestling. There was a time when I first graduated high school and I was hanging out with some friends and they would get into it and whatever Monday night or whatever it was when it was going on, they would always want to watch that. And so I'd watch it a little bit with them, but no, man, I never put that on that TV by choice. Never once, not never.
I guess the more important is, can we bet on it? That seems
Well,
right.
that changes things actually a little bit. That does change things. I would love to tell you that I don't like betting on scripted events, and so, but then I bet the NFL. I bet the NFL a lot. So, I don't want to bring our viewers and our listeners contradicting information, like, oh, I've got all these favorite wrestlers, but I don't like wrestling. It's just it kind of can get a little confusing, you know.
Yeah, I agree. It's just something I noticed.
You
So something
do?
that was
Yeah, you did.
pissing me
You
off
do
a little
agree.
bit. Yeah.
You agree that when you start listing off all your favorite wrestlers and talking about how many wrestlers you love, and then try to tell us that you're kind of annoyed because they put it on TV that you don't,
I mentioned
you
two
agree that
wrestlers.
you agree that that's conflicting to our viewers and our listeners, and we don't even know where you really stand right now. You know,
I don't think so at all. I think
you're like
I
you
think
straight up admitted to having a favorite wrestler. First of all, okay, we can get your boy Aaron on the podcast. I know your boy Aaron is a big time wrestling guy. He never misses a Raw or a Thursday night SmackDown or whatever they are. You know, he never misses those. So if you guys want to, you know, do like a wrestling podcast together, I don't know, I can get you guys in touch. But
bring him on the program, or bring him on the program, or gauge his interest. I mean, we do have all the podcast equipment, so who knows? Maybe we'll tap into
yeah,
another audience.
hmm
But do you know who
yeah.
Roddy Piper is?
Do I know who he is? I've heard of
Yeah,
Roddy Piper. Yeah, absolutely.
he was just in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But
He's
apparently he was
still
a good
alive?
wrestler.
I
No, he
thought that guy
died. He
died.
died.
Yeah, okay. I do know a little more about, I guess, wrestling than I initially admitted.
Well, either way, I just don't understand. I mean, have you ever seen the movie Idiocracy?
Uh, I've not. I've intended to. I've always kind of intended to see it.
Well, I guess the base of the plot is
I've never done it. I've never done it.
the de-evolution of the human brain to see what we were like in the future. And I feel
Mhm.
like having mainstream coverage on pro wrestling, we're taking one step further to manifesting Idiocracy into becoming real life.
You know, I'm gonna back off this barely, okay? Because I do think that it's for the kids. You know what I mean? I think that, like you mentioned earlier, being an 8-year-old and watching wrestling, you know, whatever. It's kind of like a soap opera to me, you know. But it's the grown men. It's the grown men that, for me, it's like adult Disney fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Disney. I mean, Disney owns a lot of stuff. Disney owns ESPN. So what are you talking about? Essentially,
Adult Disney fans of people like, okay, like you, um, going to Disney World with just you and your fiance. Is that something you're into, Nugz?
no,
Are you an
probably
adult
not.
Disney fan? Yeah, exactly. If you don't have kids, I mean, I don't know what you're fucking doing at Disney. That's what I'm saying. Disney World, Disneyland. Of course. I like Aladdin, dude. I'll watch The Lion King. You know what I mean? But I'm not a fucking adult Disney fan. I'm not going down to fucking Florida to ride It's a fucking Small World after all, or
Fucking
whatever
Dumbo.
Have you been to Disney, right? It's the worst place on earth. They call it the happiest place on earth, and that is not true. It's
I
the
was there
worst.
as a child when I was 3 years old, so don't recall it whatsoever. But
I
I've
was
been on
on
a
there
Disney
as an adult.
cruise.
I've
Been on.
actually heard those are kind of chill. I don't know.
They were, and we stopped off in
Again,
Jamaica, and I bought weed, so I got high on a Disney cruise. So 420, circling it all back. So
yeah,
I had a good time on my
yeah,
Disney cruise.
I could subscribe to that. I could subscribe to that trip for sure.
Yeah, you can avoid Mickey Mouse. They got adult only areas. I'm sure they do at Disney World too, but I'm assuming you went with your daughter
I did.
and
Yeah.
your ex. So you probably weren't having a good time.
Let's just say this. I'm not going back.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, Ferg, anything else that I'm missing here that you got going on?
Um, I don't think so, man. Good luck on our master bet for tomorrow. It's kind of late in the day. I got to be honest with you. You said that you hadn't done any master betting today. It's kind of a bit later in the day for a real master better. You been busy?
I have now. Thanks to you, I did put money on while we were on the air. Knicks -6.5. So
let's go. Love it.
Let's go. So I appreciate that. And then take a look for our bets. Again, keep an eye out for social media all throughout the playoffs. We're going to be posting our bets, fire posters. And hey, Ferg, we didn't even talk about it, but this will be the second YouTube episode that we're going to be posting. We finally worked out the kinks. We are now technological masters. I can't even say the fucking word, but we're on YouTube now, Ferg. So
I know
we're able to see each other.
I love it.
So keep an eye out for YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Take a look out for our bets. We got fire posters. Engage with us. Show us your bets.
Show us what you're working with. Ladies, gentlemen, show us your bets.
It's the creepiest look I could get. Anyways, Ferg, can't edit video, but either way, Ferg, it's been a pleasure, man. And let's win some money and come back with those riches on next time we record.
Click motherfucking clack.
Click clack, griddle pop, take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what this is. It looks like it just came out of the basement.
Master. Worldwide. Master.